Alright, so, welcome to the beginning of Icicle Jam Zero. My name is Cheese. I am the developer of the engine that I'm going to be demonstrating today. And starting 4 minutes ago, I'm running a sort of focus group, game jam type thing, where I'm inviting people to play around with an early version of the engine, give me some feedback on how usable it is, how it matches their desired workflows and stuff, and I'm going to use that feedback to inform how development moves forward from there. And so the purpose of this stream is to just mess around a little bit. It's going to be pretty unfocused, and it's an opportunity for any participants or other interested people to just ask some questions. I'll answer them, and maybe we'll learn stuff and find some bugs along the way and see how we go. So first up, the sort of, I don't know, there are lots and lots of concepts to go over, but I'm going to try and be brief. We'll see here that I got a folder here called Stream Stuff. Yeah, sweet. I got a folder called Resources, and typically this is what an Icicle game looks like on the inside. It's worth being familiar with the folder structure, because you're possibly going to need to go in there and mess around with some bits and pieces, which is fun and cool, but shouldn't be daunting. So get familiar with that first. The main thing is game.rc, which is just a key value pair listing of some properties for the game, starting with like the game title and some other things, web address, and some other properties that define how the game looks and behaves. Set the font that you're going to use and define some icon images that will be presented to the player. I'm going to delete the unknown one there because I think that's going to cause a bit of confusion as I work through things. So the other folders that we have here, fonts obviously live in the fonts folder. In the models folder we have OBJ meshes, with Z being up in left-handed space, I think. Don't know, can't really remember, but I don't know, experiment. If it looks wrong, rotate it around, or just live with it as it is and rotate it in the engine. In the scenes folder, I've got two default scenes. This is the template that's downloadable from itch.io for anybody who has access to a key. So in this template folder, I've included a bunch of things to make it a bit easier. So the sprites that I mentioned earlier, these default OBJ files, and two scenes. And these two scenes are critical. You have to have them in every project because the game is hard-coded to run them, and we'll see why in just a moment. So that's the resources folder. Obviously, music lives here. Sounds lives in the sounds folder. Objects, puzzles, and scenes are where the game content that the player sees ends up living. And those files are, we're going to open one up. I mean, the file formats are really temporary. I'm going to go through and revamp these at some point, which means I probably need to make a converter for this old format. I'm making more work for myself. But yeah, they're, again, sort of key value pair type things. There's a title and a description, and those two are the main things that the player sees when they look at objects. They're presented with text descriptions. We also have a color property. In this case, the background for this scene is black, and this scene happens to be a cutscene. It's meant to go for 15 seconds, and when it's finished, it will return to the menu. And these are the editor coordinates. And the object files are kind of similar. They have a very similar kind of layout. But yeah, we'll dive into those in a bit. The puzzles are a more final kind of file format. They resemble a Windows INI file, which I think is a nice readable format for stuff, and it makes parsing a little bit easier when it comes to identifying like nested data structures and parsing those. Yeah, so the puzzle format, if you ever end up looking at those, is kind of more like what I'm going to be aiming for. So I'm going to run the engine in editor mode here, and I'm going to open up that empty resources folder. And this is what you're presented with when you first open the editor. And this is the scene editor. You can see the README scene and the credits scene. I've got controls for adjusting many of their properties here, which is really helpful, and a color picker. If you don't like the color that they come with by default, you can change them around, and that's no problems at all. How nice. If you want to plop down a new scene, you can press Control N. We get a new scene. Hold down Control if you want to lock it to the grid. You select the scene. Some of the selection stuff isn't triggering the UI to come up. The UI is all really new, but you know, if something doesn't appear, just click off and click back on. It should be fine. Don't fuss too much about that. So I think we'll make like a kind of green scene, I guess. That's kind of got a nice green feel to it. The two color representations that we have here, the one on the left is the color that you've chosen. That's the base color, and then on the right is that color with a tint applied. There's a tint applied to everything in the game, or all the background colors in the game, and the idea behind that is that guarantees a level of contrast for text. So in this case, our text is white, and we need to make sure that it's a little bit darker. So we've got like a sort of darkish tint that we apply to everything, just to make sure the text is always readable, even if you're in or looking at something that is straight white. So if we go back over to the game editor here, we can see the properties that we had from the game.rc file. So if we don't want to call this my Icicle game, we're going to call this like stream test. That sounds good, right? Stream test. My super cool stream test. Yeah. When you update the window title, automatically updates the window title up here. So awesome. You can change the text that appears in the main menu, which is nice as well. The initial scene is set to intro, which is probably not a good thing for it to be set to, because we don't have a scene called intro. If we go back to the scene editor, we give this scene a name. Let's call this start. We can go back to the game editor, and we can set this to start. Control S to save, and Control S to save here. Now if we hit escape while in the scene editor, it'll take us back to the main menu. And this is the README and the credits thing. They're two scenes that are launched whenever you hit these menu items. So that's why you've got to have those there. But yeah, we go new game now, and we enter into the start scene, which is the scene that we just created. We got a cool icon here that I can make this full screen, probably be a bit easier to see. It's not so good. I probably shouldn't have made that icon at 2 AM yesterday, but it's all good. But yeah, so we can see that the scene is the color that we created for it. We can press Shift Control E to return back to the editor. If we don't want to go via the menu, we can hit select the scene that we want to go to. We can hit Control P, and that'll take us straight into the scene as well. So it's good for you know, quickly jumping back and forth. So what we can do is we can add a few more scenes, maybe some branching bits, perhaps. And in the scene editor, we can create these. There's like a shortcut for creating exits. Like you can double click on a scene and go into the object editor, and we can plonk down an object, and we can make it an exit, and we can give it the target of the scene that we want to go to. But it's a heaps shorter and heaps nicer way of doing it from the scene editor. Whereas you select a scene, you press X, and then you click on the scene you want to travel to, and now it's automatically made a new object that's an exit. It's targeting the right scene, and it's in the right position to. Excuse me. It's in the correct position, like spatially alignment. Its rotation is appropriate to what the scene editor has here. So you can set up like a spatial layout first, rig up all your exits, and then you can shuffle things around to be you know, any kind of logical arrangement you want without having those exits be moved on you, which is kind of nice. But I'm going to delete these, and we'll see that like as I deleted that one, the arrow heading that way has disappeared. Like it's all all based upon the exit objects that are in those scenes. So I'm going to name all the scenes first. It's nicer to name the scenes before you put the exits in. So this is like, I don't know, let's call this entry, or Henry. Henry's good. Entry. And we call this this would be like a, I don't know, north wing. Yeah, sweet. The name that you give the scene ends up being the file name that it has, so avoid putting, you know, $, semicolons, you know, all that kind of stuff. Question marks. Just don't do it. Alphanumeric characters and underscores are the best. Yeah, that was the music that I had for dance. That's some of Kevin MacLeod's music, which he releases under Creative Commons licenses, being a very cool person that he is. Yeah, so what are we going to call this one? This one's going to be like West Wing? No, let's call this one Lobby. No, we got an entry already. Maybe, yeah, why not? Lobby's cool. Thank you, Bean. I'm like super lazy and not mentioned this anywhere near as many places as I should have. So we got South Wing here as well, which is brilliant. And now we can rig up some exits here. Let's do that. And they're all bi-directional by default. If you want like single direction exits, then you you know, you can just go in and delete the object, and that's fine. Let's give these colors. So let's make this a kind of I don't know. Maybe we're outside and it's kind of like got that golden late evening feel to it. Maybe. I don't know if that's going to come across so well, but it's something good to start with. We go up into the actually, maybe what we'll do is rather than have the entry connecting to the different wings, we'll have the entry connect to the lobby, and then the lobby will connect to these lovely wings. How delightful. Currently I don't have the ability to select multiple objects, but that's going to come in time, and that's going to be lots of fun. You're being able to move things around and maybe batch apply properties and stuff. Yeah, right, so here we go. This is starting to get cool now. So our lobby's going to be, you know, maybe warm and inviting. Do we like the sound of warm and inviting? Or maybe it should be kind of cool and cold and maybe a little bit clinical. So this kind of like light grey blue thing, maybe. Kind of feels like it could work. Let's try that. That's cool. And so in the north wing, I don't know. Let's make it green. Green's cool. Green's a cool color. North. Is green what I associate with north? Is green what anybody associates with north? That's a good question. Yeah, but you know, we run through and we create a bunch of you know, default colors for whatever suits us here. It's purple for the south wing. Cool. And then maybe we'll have like a, maybe this will be a porch. I don't know. Porch. Or maybe courtyard. Yeah, you know, like a little courtyard. That sounds cool. I know what I'm talking about. And so you can get from the lobby to the courtyard as well. That's cool. Courtyard's gonna be that same kind of orangey golden color, maybe. You're not having any luck seeing the stream there, Flesk? That kind of sucks. I'm gonna put an archive up, so don't stress. It's all good. Yeah, I don't know. I've not had to worry too much about stuff, but it's all good. Anyway, where was I? So we got a courtyard here. This is cool. Let's make like you know what adventure games need? Every adventure game needs like a maze, right? It's gonna be great. We're all gonna love this. And everyone who's ever played a text adventure knows that mazes are universally reviled. Which is why everyone makes them, I guess, you know? Why wouldn't you make one? Alright, so, from the courtyard, we can get to Hedge Maze 1. And, like, I don't have it in at the moment, but I'm going to make it so that you can, specify... Weep. That's an exciting turn of events. Don't give scenes the same names that other scenes have. Or bad things happen. I'm gonna delete that, because I'm quite confident that that's going to come back to bite me later. Hedge Maze 1. And I'm going to write this somewhere else, because I have copy and paste support in here already. Well, paste support. I don't have copy support. I don't have text selection yet. Actually, you know what? Let's just change this. This is... I did it again. I'm pretty good. So this one at the top is 1, and we're gonna like just kind of use these to. This is boring, isn't it? It's totally boring. I'd be bored. I'm bored already. Did I do that again? Goodness me. Maybe I should name them as I went. That would have been smart, right? This one is number 3. And this one that I'm about to make, yeah, number 4. Aha, yeah, now we're on a roll. 5. Yeah, so I'm going to make it so that you can have a like a prefix that you specify, and any scene that has that prefix in its name will be automatically renamed to something else, so that if you need to have these kind of generic scenes, if you need to have these kind of generic scenes, you can make them, and you can give them, unique names, because they need unique names, because these become the file names, but you can override that with something that is fruit monkeys, is more appropriate to your game, or the thing that you want to create with your game, like a hedge maze, because hedge mazes is cool. I don't know why I put a maze in here. I do it because, as Bean says, I hate my players. Absolutely hate them. And it's one of those things, right? As a professional lazy dev who hates gamers, you like got a balance between putting effort into making features that makes players frustrated, and not putting effort into anything else. And this music, for anybody who is interested, is the combat music for Flat, a first-person ice skating sci-fi combat game that I made with a couple other people for 7-Day FPS, and the music was done by Anton Reel, who is also doing the music for Winter's Wake. Hooray! Alright, so the courtyard... Get out of here, man. Yeah, so we're going to go straight across here into Hedge Maze 3, and I think we've got to make all these green, right? Like they're all got to be the same color. This is highlighting to me that I really want to have a copy and paste support for colors, so I can make things similar color without or the same color if I want to make them the same color without a lot of tooling around. I'm going to try and make them slightly different as well, because that seems like a sensible thing to do. So some are going to be kind of browny green, and some kind of be like greeny green, and others are going to be like bluey green, yellowy green. I don't know, whatever kind of greens you have in your green thing. Yeah. Like it would be cool to just go box select, color, and then color them all at once. That's kind of where I envisage that going. And Kedna, of course, the shortcut for box select will be as it should be. Let's make this one like a really dark green. Yeah, dark green, my friend. And this music is just me tooling around on my guitar. That one's brown. I guess it's dead in there. Yeah, Blender shortcuts definitely have informed a lot of my my shortcut type decisions. I don't know. Maybe I'm not an amazing Blender fan. Maybe I'm just a mediocre Blender fan. But I do enjoy Blender and I like it, and I think it does some cool things. So yeah, why not? Why not copy that kind of interface? I will probably make like a Icicle engine export plugin that will allow you to like build your scenes in Blender if you prefer to do that, and then export from there directly into your resources folder, which is what I had originally envisaged that I would do. Yeah, right. They're not tinted differently enough. If I was actually making this, I'd put a lot more conscious thought into keeping things, you know, good and readable. I don't think you're going to be able to notice a lot of the trend. Like these three here are close enough that you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, I don't think. So yeah, we're just gonna put some stuff in and hopefully make some kind of interesting maze. I don't really know where I want to go with this. Yeah, you can make it so you double back on yourself. That's cool, hey? Maybe this one goes to here. No, I don't like that. Get out of here. You're not welcome here. If you really hate your players, you can of course make one-way entrances into rooms in your maze. That's a fantastic way to make sure that your users understand the contempt that you have for them. Yeah, because if you can't go back the way you came, then mazes not so good. So you can double back on here. What I think I want to do, just to shake things up, is allow you to traverse from maze 7 to maze 13. And I think maze 10 is going to be our objective here. And from maze 13, you can go back to maze 1. Now, immediately you can see that maintaining the spatial orientation here is made it hard to read. So we can just like shift things around until they are easy enough to read, but we have to remember that the lines here don't necessarily represent the orientation of things in the game itself. So you know, I can shift this one across this way, which, you know, sort of gets that line out of the way, means that it doesn't have too much collision with anything else, but its exit is still positioned at 45 degrees, you know, at southwest, and the one in this one is still northeast. So where are we going? We've created a nice loop that you can get stuck in. That's pretty cool. And then I think we'll let you go there. And 10 is where you're going, right? That's the end goal that you're getting to. So the big question here, if I just pop it all back here to be the shape that I want it to be, do I want 9 to be a dead end? And I think yeah, dead end, because I don't have enough dead ends. There's only the 2 dead ends. Yeah, sweet. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, let's kind of shift these around to make them a bit easier to see what's going on. Yeah. I knew you would like this power and ability to shift things around like this and not have it affect the the spatial representations. Oh, sorry, the actual spatial positioning of stuff within the game. I feel like that's like just a really important thing. There we go. So now that maze is not only is it more readable, but it's kind of really interesting. The editor is not currently zoomable. It is on my to-do list to add zoomable stuff. Thanks for dropping by, Flesk. It's great to have you on board, and I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of things you can make, where we can go from here. Like, this is all exciting stuff. Exciting stuff that we're working through. So yeah, now we've made a cool little scene layout, and we can jump straight in here right now. We can let me just save it first. We can press Control P. We're in here, and we can look east. We can go into the entry. And transitions might be a little bit long, and now we can go from the entry into the lobby. You can pan around the editors using middle mouse or the scroll wheel or the arrow keys. If you want to use the arrow keys, make sure nothing's selected, because in most of the editor modes, arrow keys will actually like nudge the objects around. But yeah, so you can use a bunch of methods to do that. If you're using the scroll wheel, if you've only got one scroll wheel on your mouse, you can use that to scroll vertically, but if you hold down Shift, it'll invert the axis that you're scrolling on, so you can hold down Shift to scroll horizontally, which is kind of nice. So we can go from here into the courtyard, and then we can just dive right into the maze and do our thing. And as we get into the maze, we'll see that there are more interesting colors at work here. But all of the exits of this are just plain white, so we're going to need to go in and tune that up a little bit, which we'll do before we dive in anything else, I guess. So this, we're going to make that kind of like, kind of orangey color, peachy sort of thing going on. I think we had. Sounds good. Let's get rid of this object because we don't need it. And this one's that kind of like pale green thing going on, I think. I don't even know what I was doing when I made it, but it was certainly more green than that, right? And I don't know, that's close enough. You can spend a lot of time on this stuff. And something else that I think we will do as we go is I've got a shortcut key. You can press Control A and it will add a ground plane and a sky plane for you. And that feels like, a good thing to do. So, we're outside, out the front, I guess. Maybe we're on like some kind of like stone cobble walkway or something. Yeah, so title, you look at the cobble driveway. That's cool. It's rocks, and then we can press H to hide the ground plane. That allows us to select the sky plane. So if you've got a bunch of objects that are positioned at the same point, you can use H to hide one and then edit the other. The little box for the object is the handle that you grab it by when you want to move it around. It also is colored to represent the color that it is. So outside here, we're going to give this a kind of, oh, it's evening, right, hey? No, we'll still kind of make it, let's make it a bit darker, hey? Yeah, there we go. This is starting to dim off, right? Nice. You look at this guy. Yeah, that's fine for a default description. That's cool. Okay, so you're in the entryway. Yeah, what color is the lobby? The lobby is a kind of what color are you? You're like some kind of weird light blue gray thing. Can remember that. It's cool. Yeah, I want to do want to have that kind of copy and paste support for colors to make this kind of adjustment that I'm doing there easier. So these are like, maybe these are kind of what am I doing? No, you click in the color bar, not on the white arrow. I don't have a HSL option for color picking, but it's on my to-do list. Like, there's so many things that I could do and do plan to do, but at this point in development, I'm actually kind of wary of fleshing out too much functionality. If it turns out that my editor tools are not heading in the right direction, you know. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure that, and that's why I'm running this jam thing, is I'm trying to make sure that I've got a good understanding and a good feel for what I would like to do before I dig in and add all this cool extra bits and pieces. Because I much prefer working with HSL than RGB. But so I can understand the desire there, definitely, most definitely. But for now, no, that's not there. And that was a very long-winded way of saying that. What was I doing? Alright, so yeah, like, steps. Yeah, the steps, cool. The steps. I'm not properly writing, I'm just writing garbage. Carry a warm glow from the evening sun. Or setting sun, yeah. Cool. Alright. That is great. Did I color the sky? No. Let's just hide that one again. Sky is gonna be. We have like some kind of same kind of thing going on there. Yeah. Alright. Sweet. So the lobby leads back to the entryway, which has this kind of golden color going on. The north wing is a very inappropriate green. Which I think was like that sort of thing. It's great. And the south wing is an equally inappropriate purple. Why not? What happens if the sky and the ground aren't centered? Then they won't be immediately above or below you when you're in that scene. And if you look at Colossal Cave Adventure, you can see that in the Kentucky Route Zero Easter egg that I've popped into that the hole in the ground is in front of you when you enter the scene, and there's nothing directly below you if you look behind. And I think that's fine in some cases, you know, to put emphasis on things in the ground that are on the ground. But if you don't have anything important to show or display on the ground, then I think it's best to just keep it centered. And yeah, you could totally also just offset them a tiny bit so that they are effectively directly under the player, but offset enough that you can select them independently. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I'm clearly understanding of anybody who might find that notion to be unpleasant. So the courtyard is also going to be that kind of goldeny yellowy color as well, which is probably going to be confusing, but whatever. That's cool. Confusing is what we live for, right? So what color is our lobby floor going to be? Is it like maybe some kind of like stone marble thing? But we'll pull it back from plain white. We'll just make it kind of neutral grey. Awesome. And objects that are hidden in the editor still are rendered within the scene. Like that's only a tool for you as a developer to keep in mind. So the ceiling, a lovely vaulted ceiling. I think we're just gonna kind of, you know, have something beige. Beige is cool, man. Beige is the new black. Alright, so I'm going to save again. When you save from the scene editor, it saves every scene, and then if the objects within those scenes have changed, it saves their objects as well. When you're in the object editor, it saves the current scene and any changed objects in that scene. So you kind of got a little bit of control over what gets saved if you got things that you're not sure about or something. But yeah. So I guess ideally I could, as like a convenience, automatically color exits based on the color of the scene that they lead to at the time that they're created. Like that's a super easy thing. Which I'm totally just going to add to my notes right here. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, because it's like it's a step that I do all the time. Let's just pop it down here. So auto exits should be auto colored. You sassy person. That's for future me. Future me is going to see that and smile. So what color was that lobby? Do we even know what color our lobby was? I know what color our lobby was. It was that kind of blue color. Alright, door. You're kind of blue now. Do the kind of blue color, which is like that, or something like that. Sweet. And in our lovely green north wing, the carpet should be some kind of navy blue, perhaps. How nice. And the ceiling is gonna be like, it's gonna be like the sweetest, most fluoro green ceiling you got. That's cool. And then, like, in terms of like starting to think about this as a game, if it were a game, we're going to add a new object in here, which is going to be facing this way, and it's going to be, what color are it going to be? It's going to be sort of green, I guess, maybe, but also not necessarily green. Maybe we'll pull it back a bit. Yeah, actually that's almost identical to the scene color, so that doesn't work. Maybe we'll make it blue, right? And the idea is that you're looking outside, like you're looking out the window. It's going to be that kind of dark blue that we had for the sky before. So this is now a window. The window looks out over a hedge maze. You can see something exciting, like treasure, hiding in the middle. But you can't make out the path. Sad face. How's that? That's cool, right? Hey Gareth, how you doing? Welcome. I'm just bumming around, making stuff in my cool game editor, making cool game things. Yeah, this kind of positioning is good, I guess, because you're kind of looking out over the hedge maze. And we could populate this with all sorts of other objects. You know, like maybe you'd put portraits along the wall, or maybe you'd put like cool bookcases, and maybe you could have like a separate object for each book, and you like look through them the way that you like had to mouse over all the books in Monkey Island to read all the funny titles. That's cool. All right, so south wing. The stairs leading back to the lobby should be coloured that lovely light blue colour that we got going on, which is fun. Well, thanks, man. I'm going to add in ground and ceiling again. And what colour flooring are we going to have in here? Just some droll floorboards, perhaps. Which can be this sort of lovely woody colour. Yes. Maybe a little richer. Yeah, that's cool. Alright, enough time on the ground. And then the ceiling. The ceiling will be cyan. Why not? Done. That's the worst thing about like trying to do tutorials or demonstrations or things when you've got this kind of editors, because it's so text-based, and there's only so many times you can write lorem ipsum $sit emet and expect that to communicate what it is that you are doing. Right, so that's this first set of scenes hooked up. That's cool. This leads back to the lobby, so that needs to be that kind of light blue color. Cool. And this one leads out over into the hedge maze, so it should probably be an appropriate green, perhaps. So, Kidna, you played Dance, did you? Do you have any thoughts on it? I still feel like there's a potentially solid core concept at work there, that I have not quite revealed in the way that I would like to reveal it. But I think that aesthetically I kind of nailed what I was after. So it's something I'd like to go back to at some point, but I'm not really sure if or when I'll get a chance. But I'm kind of keen to hear how it was interpreted by other people. Just because it was sort of this sort of neat thing that I wasn't so sure about. Haha. That's a cool ground color, and the sky out here is going to be that kind of dark blue that we had before. Brilliant. And then we got a ton of hedge maze scenes to to color in. But what we're going to do before we go any further out there is we're actually going to like go. This is actually a gate. Yeah. A gate leading. Oh, it's just a gate, and then the gate leads into a hedge maze. It is currently locked. And its type is no exit. You can put whatever you want there, but no exit is nice. Yeah, with Dance, I kind of wanted to have this sense of like, imagine a sliding block puzzle, but the pieces are constantly moving, like they never stop moving, and it's about strategically making a swap here and there to control a particular piece's movement across the pattern. I really feel like I just didn't do enough to communicate that's what I wanted to do to players, but I also want to have these kind of scenarios that would play out, and so like maybe you're a detective or something, and you chased a burglar into this dance hall, and the burglar is participating in the dance, and you've got to like control your movement through the dance so that you can catch them. You know, that kind of thing. And I had like maybe a half dozen different scenarios that were all that kind of thing. That the sort of like policeman burglar thing, maybe secret agents exchanging microfilm, or passing on a love letter from a friend to someone, or that kind of thing. Like all these sort of little tiny stories to tell there, which I think would have given like a lot more character to the game. I also wanted to have hats. Hats were going to be like a way that I, gave everybody different flavor and different, the individual dancers, more character. I wasn't sure. I think I wanted to avoid faces, but hats and monocles and other affectations felt like a good thing to pursue. And then I was also going to have like an emotional state for each of the people that would determine how successful you would be when you tried to swap place with them. So like some of them, and I want to have like different dance moves that you could do, and like some would make them more or less interested in doing that with you. So like maybe someone's grumpy and you've got to like do some cool breakdancing in the middle of this ballroom to make them laugh, and then they're happy, and then you can swap with them. And so there's a little bit more character that I wanted to push in that way. But I kind of ran out of time. Was maybe a little bit too ambitious for because I'd never used Blender's game engine before, learning new tech. I love to learn new tech during game jams because it allows me to stay focused. But yeah, I just didn't have the time or bandwidth because I did that pretty much on my own. Yeah, my dad contributed a little bit of code. He like did some prototyping in Java for like rotating things around, but I ended up not using most of that. I mean, it was good to sort of come up with some possible example implementations, and good for me to discuss what my functional requirements were, because that helped me solidify them in my mind. But in terms of increasing my bandwidth or ability to work faster, it wasn't hugely useful there. But yeah, I think it would be a cool game to get back into. Maybe as I do more stuff in the Godot engine, maybe that will become a good candidate for exploring that concept again in a different way. Like maybe it deserves to not be first person. Maybe it deserves to be a game where you are designing the dance, like you're designing the pattern, and so you design the pattern so that the people will end up in the right positions. Maybe it's kind of hard to say what the best format for exposing that is. But I did like that there was a little world that you could walk around in first person and explore. Like, I don't think that would go anywhere. I also wanted to have like a kind of like a big dining area on one side that had people in it that you could just go over and hang out in, or maybe an orchestra pit that you could go and visit and stuff. So yeah, no, that top-down view certainly helps communicate what's going on a lot better than just the first-person stuff. So yeah, things to play with if I ever get around to doing it. Anyway, so back to this this lovely game that we're making on the fly and totally not designing or planning out as we go. Yeah. So this exit into the hedge maze, we're going to make it not an exit, and then we're going to add a state, and its type is like unlock or something. Or maybe we'll make it like use key. That sounds good, right? Use key. Actually, no. We'll just make it use. Yeah. Because I've got an icon rigged up for that. So, like, we got a gate. Sweet. Gate leads into a hedge maze. It is currently locked. Normally I would copy and paste that from the previous description or something. And then we're going to make a third one where the type is exit. And the action is... Holy shit, where does this go anyway? It's hedge... maze like 13 or something. No, it's hedge maze 3. And I will double check that. Hedge maze 3, yes, good. And then there's like a gate. Gate leads into the hedge maze. Yeah, it is now unlocked. Woo! And so now we've got these 3 states that it can be in. And so the first one is not an exit. It doesn't do anything. It's just a description that tells you that there's a locked gate there. The second one, which is what it will switch to when you pick up the key, shows an icon for using the gate. It still doesn't lead anywhere. And then after you use it, then its state changes so that it's an exit that you can use to go into the other place. So we use three states, and each of them kind of communicates something different. So in this case, you've got no action icon when you view it. Like on the first one, you're told that it's locked, and that's the player, up to the player, I guess, to decide whether they want to pursue that or not pursue that, but you can put your cues in to point players in the right direction. The second one does have that action icon, which shows the player that they've got all the requirements that they need to be able to like perform that action. And then the third one is the actual like usable exit state. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save all this, and I'm going to courtyard exit hedge maze 3. Let's call this hedge, maze. Well, let's just call it gate, because that's going to make our lives a lot easier. Okay, so we make a new puzzle. I'm going to call this puzzle unlock maze. That sounds cool, right? So the first task, which is for something that we can't do yet, the object that we need to use is a key. We haven't put a key in. It's going to be in the south wing, and that's going to be like you pick up the key. The key is large and heavy. Sounds good, right? And it gives you a large, heavy key. And it updates the gate state to 1. So that it's 0 based, so the first state is 0, the second state, which allows the player to use that that object, is 1, so we'll set that to 1. And now Shift Control N. No, that's not right. With the task selected? Yeah, okay, right. So if you've got a task selected and you add a new task with Shift Control N, it inserts the new task before the current task. If you have just the puzzle selected, then it will add, or it will append a new task. So the sequence that we want the player to go in is to grab the key first, and then to use the gate. Action title is you unlock the gate. The key, I don't know, offers some resistance as you turn it, but finally unlocks with a loud clunk. That sounds good, right? I'm not going to remove the key from you. Like I don't see any value in telling you don't have a key anymore. So the gate state now updates to its third state, which is gate state 2, and this puzzle is what controls the stuff that the player will see there. So that's really cool. What we need now. It's all good, Sid. I'll check it out at some point. So what we need now is a key. So I'm going to put that down in the south wing, and that's going to be down here. We're going to call this key. And it's going to have 2 states. The first state is going to be type use, because we got a use thing. Action we don't need to worry about at this point. A large key. A large key. A large key sits on a wooden desk. That's cool. And then the second state, which doesn't need to have a type, we're happy with a unknown there. The title is a large wooden desk. Or wooden desk? A desk. A desk is good. Alright, so we said large key sits on a wooden desk. The desk is wooden, and its top is clear. So when you use an object, or when you pick up something, because you don't really, like, inventory is entirely cosmetic. Everything is controlled by puzzle states, rather than what you do or don't have. So it's up to the up to the creator or designer or writer or whatever it is someone who uses the Icicle engine is called. It's up to you as someone who's making it to build the illusion, right? Like, and that's what game development is. That's what storytelling is. You're building a narrative. So objects never disappear, and it's kind of because it's inherently kind of confusing. If you start taking things away, removing things from the space, you take away orientation cues that the player might otherwise be able to make use of. So we can, we can change the description from being a key that's on a table to being an empty table, and in that way the player knows that they're looking at the place where the key came from, and their sense of orientation can still be intact. versus having things disappear and appear in scenes, which I think is worth avoiding wherever possible, you know. But that's the mentality I'm designing with. I'm sure that other approaches are going to be, you know, usable, but right now this is what I would recommend for people. So what color is our key going to be? Do you want it to be a yellow key? Yellow key? Gold key? Let's make it kind of goldy, I guess. And that way you think it's an exit to the lobby. Or to the courtyard or wherever. Yeah, alright, so now we get a key. And we have our first puzzle, which is really neat. What am I doing now? Yeah, I gotta color all these freaking green exits, man. Because that's boring. Let's pretend we did. Let's not and pretend we did. Let's kind of have the ground be like darker underneath your feet than the scene color in the maze, and then the sky is going to be that sort of you know, kind of late evening blue that we had before, and then yeah, I am going to skip coloring. So then over in the oh, didn't mean to hide that. Over in the northwest side, here's our treasure. What color is that treasure going to be? The most valuable treasures in the world are almost always, in my opinion, colored pink. So pink's good as far as I'm concerned. Hot pink. Some hot pink treasure. A bounty of hot pink cushions. There we go. That's your treasure. That's what we're chasing. You can't wait to add them to your collection. Because we collect cushions, right? That's who we are. We're cushion collectors. Yeah, sweet.